All right. So I watched Anora. Anora, this film by
Ooh.
Sean Baker, came out about 2 months ago. I know it's one of those films that came out a little while ago at the end of last year, and buzz has just been growing and growing, and word of mouth has been fantastic. So this is one of those films where I've been meaning to get to it, and eventually I got to it, and very, very happy. So Anora, again, this non-spoiler review, because I feel like you should watch this either in the theaters or streaming on demand, something that I did, and and I enjoyed it just as much as I'm sure I would have in the theater. But Anora, a young escort and stripper from Brooklyn, gets her chance at a Cinderella story when she meets and impulsively meets the son of a Russian oligarch. Once news reaches Russia, her fairy tale is threatened as the parents set out for New York to get the marriage annulled. As I mentioned, this was directed and written by Sean Baker. This stars the amazingly brilliant Mikey Madison as Annie, or Anora. She also goes by Anora. Some of these names I'm going to butcher because they are from Russia. They're Russian actors, and
Yes.
their names are also written as such. But Mark Edelstein, he plays Ivan. He plays the 21-year-old son of an oligarch married couple, so he's rolling in the dough. We also have Yura Borsov. He plays Igor. Karen Koruglian, he is Toros. And Vak Toys Mason, he is Garnick. Overall thoughts, I went into this film already knowing that it's getting really good reviews, and I'm happy to say that it has lived up to expectations. Not only is this a fun and funny movie, but it also handles very, very dramatic moments very well, and dramatic moments and heavy topics. It starts out as Pretty Woman, but then it morphs into Uncut Gems. It has both of those vibes. Jamie, before I go on with this, with the, how things roll out, any questions so far? It sounds like you've heard of this movie.
I've heard of this movie. I saw some of the trailers for it. I thought it looked really interesting and really colorful. I was just going to ask you, you talked a little bit about this being sort of on the fun side. Is it also dramatic, and I wanted to ask you what the visuals were like too.
Yeah, so I would say this is like a dramedy. It's dramatic, it's comedy, with heavy topics.
Yeah, it seems heavy.
Again, yeah. There's some moments where I'm like laughing out loud, and other moments where I'm just like in disbelief of like, oh, that's effed up, that's messed up. And so I would call it a dark comedy, but it's not directly a comedy. There's just a lot of funny moments that happen in it. A lot of likable characters who do funny things or silly things, and it works with the film. Mikey Madison, she's excellent in this film. She plays this tough as nails character who is not afraid to stand her ground and literally fight for what she wants. And she expresses the mundane work life, excitement, ecstasy, anger, and grief, all those emotions in this film. It starts out with Anora working at a strip club, and that's where she meets the character Ivan, a 21-year-old guy from Russia who is, again, living the high life off his parents' dime. The relationship starts out as a transactional experience where he pays for her services, but then, things morph into... feelings grow, that relationship grows as well during this very short, 1 or 2 week period. And then they eventually run off and get married in Las Vegas. This isn't a spoiler, but that's when things, start rolling into motion, when his caretakers who work for his parents learn about the marriage, and then they find out we got to get this marriage annulled because we can't have this, our son married to the stripper, and what that would mean for this rich family. And that's when things go off the rails, and it's really entertaining to watch. Again, I can't go into spoilers, but I will say that every character, very fun to watch in this film. Great character development throughout. Characters who initially you're kind of indifferent to, or you don't know if you're going to like them, you end up liking the most. And then there are other characters who you kind of like, okay, you understand where they're coming from. And then at the end of the movie, you're like, I don't like you at all. You're just a POS right there.
Yeah.
So, I can't recommend this movie enough. Go watch it again, either in the theaters or on demand. I will say though, do not watch this with children because there is nudity. And maybe don't watch it with your parents, and depending if you don't feel comfortable with said nudity, but there's plenty of it in there. It does not distract from the film. It adds to it. It's tastefully done, if that's a right way to say it for this type of film. But it's a good one. It's a really good movie. One of the best.
Relevant to the plot.
That came out in 2024. Yeah, it does.
So are these, do you get Moulin Rouge vibes here?
Not necessarily. I don't know. I'm not sure if I would have compared it to that.
Okay.
That. I love Moulin Rouge, but I'm not sure if I would have gotten to that. But again, it takes place in New York, and it has a lot of night shots, like in the streets, where Annie and these henchmen and this caretaker of Ivan are running through the streets and going different places. Again, kind of an Uncut Gems kind of vibe, where they're trying to accomplish something, but keep hitting roadblocks in kind of hilarious manners. And so you get some really fun, like out on the street, at restaurant, diner, interactions. And so it's a very fun watch. Okay.
And where can people see it?
In theaters right now or on demand. So I rented it for $10. Totally worth it. You can buy it digitally for $20, which I think would be worth it as well.
All right. So Anora, definitely on the go watch it list.